Hey everybody, welcome to Halfbeard's HUD's Heads Up. Today we're looking at Rush for Glory, a tower defense game that came out like a couple months ago on Steam. I'll be frank, I'm not a big fan of this game. It's not broken or bad or anything like that. It's mechanically sound. It's just kind of dull. You know, it doesn't really do anything special, and that's really sad. So there's a story, I've forgotten it. I don't really think there is. It's kind of just like fight dudes. You know, it's kind of just tower defense. Let's jump in. There's 10 levels in all in the game, which, if that seems like not a lot, yep. We'll play on. We're gonna play on hard. We're gonna fail, and that's fine. Normal. That's because normal is really easy. So we'll play on hard, just so you can kind of get an idea of what the game is like. You know, they're going for definitely like a very classic, refined kind of tower defense game. So this is all about lots and lots of dudes and really good tower defense placement and like tower placement and all that kind of stuff. So you got a total of 5 towers. Each one can be upgraded multiple times, and each one has special abilities that'll unlock that just kind of like might randomly fire off. You know, like the machine gun can randomly fire off a bolt that will... I don't really know what it does. The localization of this game is not great. It's a very small team, so it's understandable that, you know, there'd be some errors in why the game looks a little like, you know, like 2005, like not even 2005, 2003, 2005, 2003. So whatever, but there's things like there's some specific information you're not getting. Like it says, "will discharge the enemy," which, because it's not spitting out enemies, I don't know what that means. But whatever. So yeah, let's what do we got here? We got the machine gun. We got the ground lava, which is basically a machine gun that's more powerful but doesn't hit the sky. The fighter, which is a machine gun that only fires into the sky. The mortar, which is a mortar. And the snower, which is your slow tower. So let's put down some stuff. There's gonna be dudes coming from here and going down here. So let's put down a mortar. They're coming down like this. Put down a mortar here. What we'll do is, because we can't guard against, build up against both sides, we're gonna buff the hell out of this. That's my tactic here. And then you got just show the UI real quick. Got your money, the amount of dudes that can slip through before you lose. And then you got your powers. So you got these like powers you can place down. These cost a bit of gold as well, but they allow you to do some cool extra stuff. They're not really game-changing in any way. They're not different than. They're certainly not something that hasn't been seen in tower defense before. But you know, they're there. That's kind of my problem with this game. It doesn't do anything special. You know, it is another goddamn tower defense game, and one that does not have a hook. It is just more. Just place your towers, guys will die, etc., etc. You know, that's. I feel like this is a genre that, well, there hasn't been a ton of tower defense games lately. There has been enough that here, we're gonna make these guys move faster. Just whoop. There's enough there, and there's enough out there that, like, you need something to really, you know, to set yourself apart. You know, Plants vs. Zombie has its kind of its unique visual design, as well as, you know, the kind of joke aspect. Not to mention, it's got the more important part that it has this like grid-based system and interesting resource collection with the sun coming down and stuff like that. That is entirely different from most other games. You know, Kingdom Rush is another example where it's, you know, it's building off a very traditional tower defense base, but it's got that really interesting. It's got the hero idea, which is not also, again, not uncommon, but it's got that really good upgrade mechanic where, you know, it branches off, and the way you're upgrading single powers and, you know, setting out dudes, and you're, you know, kind of managing dudes on the ground, like that's very different. And this just doesn't have that. It's just hold on, gotta slow this down. There's no pause button, which is a real fucking bummer, because this is a game that could use a pause button. Especially because apparently, like 19 ways, if you're going slow, even if I'm really going fast, that's a long damn time to sit and watch fucking towers. You know? You should focus on flying, guys, because, ugh. Get that speed up again. Yeah, again, mechanically sound. Like, guys are running, towers are happening, There is an upgrade tree we'll show soon enough that upgrades things. Not a very interesting upgrade tree, unfortunately. That's another bummer. Like the upgrades aren't interesting. Like, you know, make your flying towers convert enemies to your side, or, you know, make this tower shoot lightning, or have it like switch into a different kind of tower. Like, there's not really interesting upgrades. They're just like upgrade your damage. Doesn't even give you a number. It's just you just have to assume that some variable is being increased, basically, which is just a fucking just a real bummer, you know, just a real goddamn bummer. And while I get that it's a lot of work to, you know, make those really fancy upgrades, it's just it's not interesting otherwise. So yeah, this is these guys, they're getting shot. It's happening. Yeah. And yeah, I'm letting a lot of guys through. I'm not really trying to win this level. It's kind of just showing what the game looks like. On a more normal level, I'd be placing out, you know, better towers. There's stuff, again, like it's a... Just get out of this actual level. You know, it's definitely a mechanically sound game there. There's definitely a good amount of room for strategy and getting a good thing going. And, you know, you're constantly kind of repairing and upgrading towers, making them more powerful, and that's great. But that is what we've seen before. So what else is in this game? There's 30 enemies overall. There's that. There's an encyclopedia, and by encyclopedia I mean it's just like it's all the prompts we've gotten. Yeah, this shows off some of the weird translation. Machine gun, a special ability. Discharges enemies. Weapon needs to be cool. Not so there's a cooldown, but it's not really describing what that, like where or how we would measure that. And weapon operates with a chance, which means it fires off randomly. But that's just like it's very awkward language. I get, you know, it's a translator. That's not an English developed game. I'm not going to expect them to have English perfect for everything they release. But at the same time, like there's information I am not getting from that I have to assume from that because the level of their translation is not great, and that's you know that is a detriment to this game. Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. This is their encyclopedia. It's literally just this. And then they also have mini games. Well, no, they're not mini games. On the Steam page they call them mini games, and here they call them mini. This actually gets me mad. I don't know why it gets me mad, but it does. Because I'm a nerd for language. Mini game kind of denotes that you are taking your engine and you are doing something really interesting with it. You are changing it about in some way to really kind of alter how the mechanics are working, and kind of doing something neat with it. A good example would be, not to go back to Plants vs. Zombies again, but I'm going to, Zomboling, in that where, you know, they're taking the same mechanics, but changing up the way it works, by making it so it's only this one type, and you're using them to really, and you know, the goal is kind of different, and it's much more fast-paced, and it's a different type of game entirely. This is still tower defense. It's just they place a weird rule on it. This one, we can only build one tower, and it just has to be a mortar. And then we can use traps. We can use infinite traps, but only that first trap. That thing. I didn't draw the traps. We'll just do this really quick. So there's gonna be dudes. They're gonna come through here. We're gonna place this. We're gonna place this right here. And yeah, then we can place down these traps. Place this down right there. And whoop. And we've got to survive 2 waves of this. And this is like, yeah, this is different, but it's not a different kind of game. It's still the same frickin' game. It's just it's a slightly more challenging version of it with new variables. It is what I would determine. It was what I would call in, you know, kind of gaming parlance, a challenge mode, or just a challenge. Like, it's not to call it a mini game is to give it too much credit. Yeah, and then these guys die, and this is what this is. Just place down all these traps. We'll beat this really quick. Let's see what happens when we beat a, you know, quote unquote mini game. And then we can upgrade this with the R key. Upgrade it so it kills dudes. Just me mashing the 1 button. Yeah, so all these powers, they're up on the... They call them powers. Sometimes they call them traps. Whatever. They're all up here. You get this one. One's apparently... yeah. Get this one. There's a one that freezes everybody, which you normally go here. A health kit. A big, like, rain of missiles or whatever. And then there's also a... I haven't unlocked the last one yet. It's called like Golden Tower or something like that. I don't know what it does. Maybe it makes that tower better in some way. Just keep placing down freaking stupid traps. Again, I don't mean to sound like down, like so down in this game. It is a, you know, it's a small game. The team is like, I looked at the credits really quick. It looked like it was maybe like 6, 7 people. So I certainly don't begrudge them for not being able to really kind of max out what they did with this game. It's, you know, small teams, man. What the industry is built on. But this is not a, while the genre has not been as prolific as it once was, this is by no means a, you know, like a poorly developed genre. There are lots of tower defense games out there. They contain a lot of replayability. There are, you know, and there are lots of reasons to keep playing them, and with so many options, there needs to be a reason. There needs to be a hook. There needs to be something that makes, you know, a player want to go back and actually play your game, and this just doesn't have it, and it's pricey. I haven't mentioned the price yet, specifically because it kind of irks me. It's $15, which, that's not an insignificant amount of money, especially on Steam when there are so many really good games in kind of that price, in that, you know, kind of price area. And that's, I don't know why I didn't get any stars for that. I did that perfectly. Nobody fucking got through. Get any stars. Whatever. Fine. Yeah, that's their weird version of minigame. Yeah, it's $15. It's a mechanically sound tower defense game. It seems like it wouldn't be a bad way to eat up a lunch break, though apparently those later levels get really, really frickin' long, which is not great, because again, no pause button. No way to stop that level. If you gotta take a leak, give up. But yeah, and just like, there's just no hook. There's nothing that really make you want to buy this or play this over any other tower defense game, and that's its ultimate flaw. I think it's a decent first effort. It shows that they understand what they're doing, I guess, just in terms of like making a video game. I think it's visually okay. I don't think it's like interesting to look at necessarily. I think it's a pretty like standard visual look. It reminds me a lot of like it looks like if somebody tried to render Warcraft. Like, it looks like to me if somebody tried to render Warhammer in Warcraft 3's engine. That's what it looks like to me. Like Warhammer 40k in Warcraft 3's engine. That's what it looks like to me. And it's not a, and that's why that would be really cool if that was real. Like, their knockoff version of it is not super interesting. I'll say there's not really a story here. You know, they just get you blue enemies. You know, there's no explanation of what the hell is going on. I think maybe there was a cutscene at the start. If there was, I don't remember it. And they have made no effort to continue telling a story. Also, come on, blue enemies, blue brute. You can't. Purple Inferno. These are names, I guess. Gladiator Speedy. Yeah, you know, just helicopter. You fight the fire helicopter. Like, these enemies are not interesting to look at or fight. They're very basic looking enemies. Just like, again, I don't want to be down on this. I don't like being the negative guy. I'm generally trying to be optimistic, but this just isn't doing it for me. I think if you're a huge tower defense fan and just have already beaten the hell out of every single other tower defense game that exists on Steam and other devices, sure. But when it's on sale, because $15 just feels like way too much to pay for this. But like otherwise, if you still have got levels to play in like anything in like, you know, Pixel, you know, in Pixel Junk Monsters Ultimate Edition, that's on Steam now, or Kingdom Rush, or Plants vs Zombies, or hell, even that Sanctum tower defense game, not the actual one where you're first person, but the smaller one where it's like the Super Sanctum tower defense version where it's just tower defense. There are plenty of really good tower defense games on Steam for really cheap. That Sanctum one, it's like $3, if that. It's really cheap. So for $15, it's not doing it for me. Oh, upgrades. I never showed upgrades. Upgrades. There they are. Upgrades. You get stars for beating the level. Take it out, put it back in, and it changes variables. Like, it's just variables. Look, you can see here. Change splash radius, variable. Change the freeze power. You're just changing a variable. It's numbers changing in the code, just like up a little bit, down a little bit. That's not interesting. It's not an inversion on gameplay. It doesn't make it worth my time to want to see what the machine gun looks like with a higher damage, because I know what it looks like. It looks like the machine gun doing a bit more damage. Now, if this is like make it so the machine gun fires fire bullets, then I want to see that. I want to see how that reacts with enemies. I want to see what goes on there, but it doesn't have that. All right, done ranting. I'm gonna go try to spill my vitriol somewhere else. Rush for Glory, it's on Steam. Again, if you're absolutely desperate for a tower defense game because you've played absolutely everything else, it is an option. And again, not a bad game. It's not broken. It seems balanced. It seems like it's not. It seems like it's it's there. It is a tower defense game that does what a tower defense game does. It just doesn't have a hook. It's just not interesting. There's no good reason to actually play it over top of any of the other myriad options that exist out there, even if those other options are not necessarily as fresh as this one is. And I mean that literally just in terms of date. So yeah, as always, I've been your host, Halfbeard, and we're out. Later, guys.